Welcome back to How to Cake It. This week, I'm half cake. I'm going to celebrate the half birthday, which is really important to children under 10, I find. My nieces are always telling me they are not 3, they are not 6, they are 3.5 and 6.5. So get it straight. And as it turns out, my son is turning 1.5, and that's what we're going to celebrate here today. I'm going to make 1.5 of everything. 1.5 cakes, 1.5 cookie treats sandwiched together with chocolate ganache, and 1.5 marshmallow treats with chocolate and super fun sprinkles. So let's get half caked. To start off, I've baked 2 7-inch and 1 5-inch cake, and to make it extra fun, I threw in a handful of sprinkles into the batter, and I believe this is called a fondant cake. I think it's a play on confetti, you tell me. But it's fun. We're just going to take these out of the pan, level them, and get ready to fill them. I'm actually really excited to see how the sprinkles bake in the cake. I've never done this myself. It's so much fun. It's like a party in a cake. Save this for later. Now I'm gonna cut my cake into 2 layers of equal size, which is why I'm using my ruler, of course. Sprinkles. As I mentioned, I'm making 1.5 cakes, and I didn't mean half the height. I meant right down the middle in half. As you can see, we now have 1.5 tiers, so let's get to it and color our buttercream. You can make this buttercream yourself. There's a link below with the full recipe. There's a link. We're gonna start off by making orange buttercream. I'm adding a bit of a squeeze to my buttercream. I like to add it a little at a time, and then that way you see how the color develops. If it's not deep enough for you, you can always add more. Woo! This is a workout. This works your triceps.
That's your bicep.
This is my bicep? Where's my tricep?
Bicep. Yeah.
But there is a tricep, right? Why is there a tricep? And what's the first one? Is there a 1-cep? Forget it. Orange. Clean spatula. I'm gonna add a little more food coloring this time, just because it took 4 tries with the orange, so I'm gonna start out a bit more generous with our purple. This purple is looking gorgeous. Purple, orange, beautiful. It's time to fill our beautiful cake. I have my trusted Lazy Susan. She's one of my #1 friends in the kitchen. I don't know why they call her lazy. She does a lot of work for me. Thank you, Susan. Let's get started. I'm gonna do 2 layers of orange buttercream and 1 of purple in this cake. So it'll be orange, purple, orange. I'm gonna put our larger tier aside and fill our little half cake. This is actually my first time filling a half cake. Let's get crumb coating. This is just the crumb coat to hold the crumbs into the side and the top of the cake. So just a light coating of buttercream. There we go. And now I've finished crumb coating both of our cakes, even the half cake, and it's left open at the front, which is really sweet. We're gonna put these in the fridge and chill them so that we can come back and ice them. Now that our cakes are chilling, we are gonna make our gorgeous chocolate ganache, which we're gonna use with our chocolate chip cookies later on. Ganache is amazing because it is so simple to make and you can do so much with it. I'm using 72% dark chocolate for this ganache. You want to chop it as finely as you can. That will just help it melt faster. Now we're going to place our chocolate into a bowl. Because I'm making such a little amount, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to heat my cream in the microwave. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You want to pour your cream right over your chocolate, and we're just gonna cover it for about 5 minutes before we stir. Our 5 minutes is up. Let's uncover our ganache and start to stir. The hot cream has already done most of the work for you. I know this is really technical. You might want to write this down. Stir, stir, keep stirring, then stir some more. I want this ganache to be pipeable for my cookies. That's the consistency I'm gonna use it at. So I set it overnight at room temperature. I happen to have some ganache that's already set. Bing! I'm actually gonna whip it up in my mixer just because I want it to be a little airier, a little bit fluffier. So all you have to do is put it into your mixing bowl. With your whip attachment, whip it at high speed. You want to keep an eye on your ganache while you're whipping it. You don't want to over whip it. Just like cream, it will split. So keep your eye on the ganache. And when it looks nice and fluffy, stop. What I'm going to do now is make cookie sandwiches, but instead of the usual cookie ganache cookie, I'm going to make 1.5 cookie sandwiches on this special occasion. If you want to make my recipe, just click on the link below. Let's get started by cutting 8 of our cookies in half. If you buy your cookies, you definitely want them to be on the chewy side, because if you buy a crunchy chocolate chip cookie, they won't cut as nicely and you'll have a lot of crumbs. Now we're going to use our whipped ganache to pipe on top of our 16 cookies. We're just going to pipe a small mound in the center so that we can place our half cookie on top and decorate it with some sprinkles. And we want to put it upright so you can clearly see that it's 1.5 cookies. Time to make our final treat for our half birthday extravaganza. I'm gonna make chocolate dipped marshmallows with sprinkles. I'm gonna do half of my marshmallows with dark chocolate and half of my marshmallows with white chocolate. Now I'm just gonna casually pick out 20 perfect marshmallows to use. Let's cut our 10 marshmallows in half, and we're gonna put them on top of our full marshmallows this way. Just a sharp knife, cut right through, squeeze them back into shape. And because your marshmallow is so sticky on the inside, it's perfect for adhering your sprinkles without any extra work. Voila. I'm gonna dip the marshmallow halfway in chocolate, and then dip into sprinkles, and then set it on your mat face down. Now we're gonna dip our other 10 marshmallows in dark chocolate. Let's take our marshmallow toppers, just dip the bottom here in the chocolate, and then glue it on top of our full-size marshmallows. Standing up lovely, they're starting to set. I'm ready to dip the final 10 marshmallows in the dark chocolate. They're like a little sprinkly army. Our cakes are chilled, we're gonna ice them. Unlike a crumb coat, when you ice your cake, you wanna use a bit more buttercream. Now we're gonna ice our half cake, which will be a tiny bit trickier. We're getting ready to dress it up just a little bit more with what else? Sprinkles. The easiest way to do that is to remove it from the bottom board, and we're gonna hold it in our hand and put sprinkles up the side. Sounds scary, it's not that scary. In order to keep it nice and neat in here, I'm gonna do that over a big cake pan because these little suckers like to jump around. So hold the cake flat in the palm of your hand, gather your sprinkles, and just press and turn. Now we're gonna do the same with our half tier. Looks simple, pretty, fun. What kid wouldn't want this? In order to place our top half tier on top of this tier, we need to add a couple of dowels to this cake to help support it. Yes. Our cakes are safely tiered, one on top of the other. Now we're gonna add some pretty piping in the traditional birthday cake sense. I'm using a number 20 open star tip for my piping. This is one of my favorite tips. Don't know why, just is. I do think this cake could use a bit more color, so I have some leftover purple buttercream, and I'm gonna pipe little dots only on the top borders of the cakes, just between the shells. I've repurposed an old cupcake stand that I had lying around, and I used cake pans covered in colorful paper to rise the tiers. Let's get our final touch, our cake that we're gonna place right on top. Carefully, don't overthink it. Because this cake is for my son's 1.5 birthday, I made a topper to finish off the cake to celebrate that age. I'm gonna coat these gum paste toppers with sprinkles, and in order to do that, I'm just gonna brush on a little bit of royal icing on the surface of my number. I'm gonna place my 1 on the full tier. I'm gonna place it about here, press it into the cake just a little bit, and then I'm gonna place my half on top on the half tier. We have our cake with our fun sprinkles and our sprinkle topper. We have our little marshmallow men and women, boys and girls. And then we have our chocolate chip cookie sandwiches with whipped ganache and more sprinkles. I'm not gonna let the fact that I made this for my son's half birthday stop me. In fact, I think it's my duty as a mother to test this out for him and make sure it's okay. It's definitely mommy approved. He's gonna love it. I didn't have to go through all this trouble. I could literally give my son a bowl of cake scraps, some buttercream. He would be delighted. He's 1.5. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel.